Hey everybody, and welcome back to the board meeting. Today we are going to be taking a look at the newest Unmatched set that has come out, and that is Sun's Origin, which it introduces two new character fighters into the Unmatched world. And the fighters are from Japanese history, and they're two warriors. You have Tomoe Gozen and Oda Nobunaga, and I apologize right now because I'm probably going to butcher their names a couple times in this video. But like I said, it's a two-character box set, and Unmatched has always been one of my all-time favorite games. And so let's get into this particular set. And I won't go into the map too much because a map is a map to me for Unmatched. It kind of feels like the old Raptors map where you can go into this middle and there's only a couple ways to exit, so you can kind of get trapped in there if you're not too careful, or if you're not careful. And so let's just get down to the fighters themselves, because that's what people are really interested in. And let's start with Tomoe Gozen. Now, she is a ranged fighter, and her ability is when an opposing hero leaves Tomoe Gozen's zone, deal 1 damage to that hero. And she is a ranged fighter, but she is a walking contradiction to herself because she constantly wants to be adjacent to other people rather than most ranged fighters want to stay afar and just blast their enemies from a safe distance. She wants to get up and dirty against her enemies, and she's going to get a lot of bonuses for attacking enemies that are adjacent to her. So, she's just contradicting herself. But she also has a lot of cards that are going to give you movement where you move the opposing fighter after the fight, so then you can force that opponent to leave her zone, dealing that extra damage. And you can just go back and forth with those enemies, bounce them a couple times and maybe do 2 extra damage every time you're fighting them. And she's a really interesting fighter. She is a standalone fighter. She doesn't have any sidekicks. Let's go over to Oda Nobunaga, and he is a melee fighter, but he gets 2 sidekicks. And what's unique about this is these sidekicks actually have health dials. So they're not just one-off sidekicks. They're not sidekicks that just have 1 health. He's got 2 sidekicks that both have 6 health. These honor guard. And Oda Nobunaga's ability is other friendly fighters in Oda Nobunaga's zone add +1 value to their played combat card. And that sounds okay, but when you're talking about combat cards, that's everything. That's attack cards, that's defense cards, and that is versatile cards. So he's going to constantly be boosting up his honor guard. And those are the 2 heroes, and they're very interesting heroes. And to me, I think these special abilities of these 2 fighters seem underwhelming at first when you read them and talk about them, but they are very, very effective in fighting. Tomoe Gozen being able to push those enemies and doing 1 damage every time a person leaves her zone, that includes if they voluntarily leave her zone, or if you're playing a 2 versus 2 and someone else pushes that fighter out of her zone. She's going to be doing a lot of damage throughout the game. By the end of the game, you're doing 6 or 7 extra damage to those heroes. And it's only 2 heroes. It's very specific. It's only 2 heroes, not to sidekicks, not to villains, and not to minions. And I'll get more into that later. And Oda Nobunaga is going to be bumping up everybody. And it's all friendly fighters. So if you're playing a 2 versus 2, he's going to be bumping up those other fighters that you're allying with for that particular match. Also, if you're playing cooperative mode, he just might be the newest, best fighter to bring along when you're playing a cooperative mode. He was tailor-made for cooperative mode. If you're playing as Oda Nobunaga and you're playing cooperative mode, set him into the center of a zone that's got lots of circles around it and have everybody come around him. And they're going to get +1 to all their attacks and all their defensive cards. And that's going to be a huge difference in the game. Just when it's a 1 versus 1, bumping up his honor guard is a big difference. But if you can bump up like 4 or 5 other fighters instead of just these honor guards, that's going to be great for cooperative mode. So he's basically tailor-made for cooperative mode, where Tomoe Gozen is actually not at all, because it specifies hero in her ability. It doesn't affect sidekicks or minions or villains. So when a villain leaves her zone, nothing happens. And so she loses her ability if you're going to play a cooperative mode with Tomoe Gozen. But I did message the publisher, Restoration Games, and they said, yeah, it is like that, but you can homebrew it if you would like to have it say villain as well. So if villains leave her zone, then they're going to take 1 damage, which then she becomes a nice, effective fighter in cooperative mode. But if you're not going to use it, use, homebrew that little wording for that. I would just keep her away from cooperative mode if you're not going to homebrew that. But if you do, she's going to be great for it. But altogether, I really like these two characters. I like the Japanese theme. I like the artwork. The artwork, as in most Unmatched, is great. The artwork in this game is just fantastic. Like usual, it's a great set. It's a really good set that has come out after because this is the first set that has come out after the cooperative mode. The Tales to Amaze set came out. So I don't think it's a coincidence that this was the first set, with Oda Nobunaga in it, where he is going to be a star in cooperative mode. And he will stand his ground just in a regular fight as well, but he's really going to be a star in the cooperative version of Unmatched. And that really makes me excited that there's going to be these characters that are just really good at the cooperative mode. And some characters are going to be, okay, hit or miss, I mean, when you have this many characters, that's going to happen. So, but yeah, altogether, I think this is a great set. I'm going to give it an 8 rating. I think both the characters are fun and interesting. I like the map. I like the theme of this. I'm really excited to add this into the Unmatched collection as a whole. I think it's a great set as a whole. But that will complete this review. Those are my thoughts for Sun's Origin. Make sure to comment down below your thoughts on these two fighters. And make sure to like and subscribe if you really like this video. Hope you have an amazing day. Take care.